Hi, hello, welcome. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. My name is Sarah and this is Wicked Reading. So today's main focus on the video is going to be my winter TBR, but I did want to start by opening my December Nightworms package. So if you don't know or haven't heard of them, Nightworms is a horror book-based subscription service that goes monthly. You get 2 books, some sort of drink, and then some cute little like stickers or magnets or other such item. I'm actually going to start this video by opening up my Nightworms package because I know that there's books in there that I want to be on my winter TBR. So I figured I'd start by opening that package and then we'll get into the rest of the TBR. So here is my package. Here is the Nightworms package. It feels like one of them's at least a hardcover. So the theme was Krampus Spirit. So that's why some of the books are going to be on my winter TBR. One of them I'm hoping to get to this week. Oh, first we have our little goodies bag that we get every month. And you always get a bookmark to match the theme, which I absolutely love this one. I love that art style. Super cool. And then this month's drink is milk chocolate cinnamon cocoa, nutty cocoa. So it's hot chocolate by Moonstruck. And we got this really cool sticker. I love that of Krampus. Really like that sticker. And then a magnet that says Seasons Creepings. So that's super cute too. Super fun if you have like one of those metal TBR carts. I don't have a TBR cart, but I want to get one. And if I get a metal one, I could put all my magnets from Nightworms on there. And then we have actually signatures from both of the authors for both of the books that we got. This one is on a pretty ugly card, not gonna lie. But we got both of the authors. So the first book, which is the book I want to read this week because it's a Krampus story, is Lucky Girl by M. Rickert. So it's a novella. It's very small. It's pretty floppy too, actually. It is 103 pages, so it's really short. Ro, a struggling writer, knows all too well the pain and solitude that holiday festivities can awaken. When she meets 4 people at a local diner, all of them strangers and as lonely as Ro is, she invites them to an impromptu Christmas dinner. When that party seems in danger of an early end, she suggests they each tell a ghost story, one that's seasonally appropriate. But Ro will come to learn that the horrors hidden in a Christmas tale or one's past can never be tamed once unleashed. So yeah, it sounds pretty interesting. That's a super quick read, so I'm going to try to read that this week. So that's why I wanted to open this, because it's going to be on my winter TBR, so we'll start with that. And then the other book that we got, White Horse by Erica T. Ruff, and I'm really excited about this. I love that cover. I think it's so pretty. I don't really know what it's about. I know it's Native American, I think, linked. So let's go ahead and read the synopsis. As some people are haunted in more ways than one. Heavy metal, ripped jeans, Stephen King novels, and the occasional beer at the White Horse have defined urban Indian Carrie James's life so far. But when her cousin Debbie finds an old family bracelet that once belonged to Carrie's mother, inadvertently calls up both her mother's ghost and a monstrous entity, and Carrie's willful ignorance about her past is no longer sustainable. Haunted by visions of her mother and haunted by this mysterious creature, Carrie must find out what happened to her mother all those years ago. Her father, permanently disabled from a car crash, can't help her. Her auntie Squeaker seems to know something but isn't eager to give it all up at once. Debbie wants to help, but her controlling husband keeps getting in the way. Carrie's journey toward a truth long denied by both her family and law enforcement forces her to confront her dysfunctional relationships, thoughts about a friend she lost in childhood, and her desire for the one thing she's always wanted but can never have. So it's actually a little bit different than I thought it would be, but it does sound pretty good. Okay, so that was everything in the Nightworms package. So we're gonna go ahead and get into my winter TBR. Now I will say, disclaimer alert, I don't really usually do TBRs. For me, my TBR is just always every book that I have to read. But I did want to kind of put together a stack that I could easily grab from. I am very much a mood reader, so I try to include a lot of different types of stories, so then hopefully at some point I'm in that mood. Immediately looking at all the books I need to read, these ones stood out to me the most, is what I'm most drawn to right now. That being said, I will probably be getting books for Christmas, so some of these might be put aside and kind of switched out for some of the books that I get for Christmas, because I get so excited when I get new books, which is why I need to slow down and not buy so many books, because I buy books when I'm in the mood for them, but then I buy so many books that whatever I bought last is usually what I'm going to read. So if I buy too many at once, the ones I originally bought just end up not being read. So I'm trying to do a lot of self-control and not buy books for a long time. I'm just not going to hold myself like totally to only reading these books. If I'm feeling like I want to read something that I didn't originally have in this stack, I'm going to, and I'm not going to feel bad about not getting to some of these. But like I said, right now, these are the ones that I'm initially drawn to. As I already said, this is going to be the first one on my winter TBR, Lucky Girl by M. Rickert. It's a Krampus story, so you already heard all about it. So there's that. So since I started with a horror, I'll go through my other horror books that I have for the winter TBR. Next up, I want to get to Gallows Hill by Darcy Coates. I have heard a lot of great things about Darcy Coates, and I just haven't read one of her books yet, so I really want to get to this. I think it's pretty much just like a haunted house story. I'm trying not to look that into it, but I know from what I've heard, Darcy Coates tends to do a lot of haunted house stories, ghost stories around those lines. So I'm going to try to get to this. Next up, which I really like, this is for sure probably going to be read in winter, mostly because of the cover, so I'm assuming it happens in winter, but that is Stolen Tongues by Felix Blackwell. So I've heard really mixed things about this. I've heard either people really like it or people really didn't. I haven't really heard too much mixed feelings. I'm sure that there's some out there, but this has to do with a cabin in the woods kind of thing. Like I said, I don't know if this exactly happens in winter, but the cover insinuates it does. So I'm probably going to try to get to this. I'm just hoping it, is very atmospheric and spooky. So we'll see. That's all the like horror specific books that I have for this month. So moving on to this one's more of a gothic style, and that is A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. And I do have the Fairy Loot edition, and I'm so happy I bought it from somebody who was selling it. I love it so much. I think it's so beautiful, but I'm really excited to get into this. I've really been enjoying Dracula or vampire-esque books lately. I just have to deal with one of Dracula's brides, and I think it is kind of written as her writing letters to Dracula and explaining a lot of like trauma and stuff that she dealt with as his bride. I'm excited to get to that. I have like a little stack of some fantasy books, so we'll do those. First up, I am really excited to read this one. Like, this will for sure get read in winter, and that is The Night and Its Moon by Piper CJ. I am so excited, and I haven't heard anybody talk about this. I picked it up on a like Books from Book Talk table, but I don't consume my book content on TikTok, so I had never seen this, and I haven't seen anybody talk about it, but it sounds so good, and I think the cover is so pretty. And I noticed there's actually a pronunciation guide on the inside of this book, and why doesn't every fantasy book have that? Like, this is amazing. It's a fantasy, and I think it's sapphic. This has to do with Nox and Amaris as our main characters, and they live in an orphanage that actually sells these kids to people. And Amaris gets sold to a madam of a brothel, but then Nox ends up taking her place. So they end up getting separated from that, and Amaris actually is fade touched. So whatever that means in this book, she might have some fade powers, we'll have to see. But so she is fade touched and Nox is not. But then so they end up getting separated, and war happens and a bunch of other stuff, and I think it's really going to be about their journey of finding each other again, with a lot of conflicts along the way. So I'm like so excited for this. Like, this might, after I read the Krampus book, like this might be my next one. Like, I am so excited to read this, and I've been so drawn towards it. So yeah, we're gonna definitely get to that one in winter. Next, I recently got, this is the Fairy Loot book from the YA fantasy box for Fairy Loot for November. So spoiler alert in case you haven't gotten your box yet and you don't want to know what it is yet. But I already got mine, and I have a video of me unboxing it if you want to see it. But it is The Ones We Burn by Rebecca Mix. I am so excited to read this. I haven't heard about it, and I do think that there might be some controversy surrounding this book, but I really don't know what it is. But the book sounds really good to me, so I'm going to still read it. I bought it. This has to do with a blood witch named Ranka who has a directive to kill the prince that she is like going to be engaged to or something like that. I don't remember. But she's supposed to kill the prince, but it turns out that the prince's sister might actually be more of a threat. I'm still relatively new to YA fantasy, so I'm really excited about this storyline and I can't wait to get into this. These two I'll show together because they're part of the same series, but I do want to start the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. I will start with the Assassin's Blade and then obviously go into Throne of Glass. I'm hoping to at least get to these two by winter. I have the whole set, so I will eventually read them all, but I want to at least get the first two done, and I will space them out. I can't really do back to back. I have to do at least like 1 or 2 books in between a book for a series. I don't know if that's like really weird to do, but I just don't want to burn myself out of a world and like force myself to read something when I'm such a mood reader. So typically once I read one type of genre, I totally jump and go to a completely different type of genre, and I kind of just go back and forth. Hopefully I will get to these two. So then I do have a couple mangas that are on my winter TBR. I have volume 3 and 4 of Jujutsu Kaisen. These will definitely be read in winter. I have absolutely been loving this series so far. I will talk more about it in my November/December wrap up. So then this stack is kind of random. I guess it's like just general fiction. I don't, this one might be thriller, I don't really know. But it's kind of just general fiction, but I do have one classic that I want to get to, and that's The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. This also has a couple other stories in it, so this whole thing's not Dorian Gray. This whole part of it is the Picture of Dorian Gray. But I do want to get to this. I have kind of been in the mood for classics, but I honestly don't have any idea what this is about, to be totally honest, but I do think it is more on the gothic horror aspect, so I guess I should have shown that with the other horrors, but whatever. I've heard really good things about this one, so we'll see if I get to that. This is another one I don't really know what it's about, but All's Well by Mona Awad. I absolutely loved Bunny. Bunny is my #1 book of the year, I'm pretty sure. It might be 1 or 2, but I am going to be filming a video of all my 5 stars from 2022, and that's going to be in there. I absolutely loved Bunny, so I wanted to right away get another Mona Awad story. I'm thinking I'm saving this for when I'm in the mood for a very character-driven story, possibly a gray morality character. I think that this book will tick those boxes, but we'll see. Okay, and then next, this one I'm not quite sure what it would call itself. I just have it in my random little fiction. It does just say fiction on here, but I don't know if it might also lean in horror or psychological or something like that based on just the synopsis. But that is Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. So I'm really excited to get to this. The gist of this book is that one of our main characters, I don't remember their names, Leah. So Leah goes away for like a work mission, something like that, and she comes back to her wife Mary, and she's not quite the same. So that's kind of all there is with that. I kind of want to go into this blind. I don't know if it's a thriller. I don't know if it's psychological. I don't know. So we'll see when I get into this. I have heard relatively good things about it. I haven't heard too many people talk about it, to be honest. People I have heard talk about it did have good things to say. So there are also a couple books that I do want to get to that I don't have yet, or I don't have physically. One of those books is The Witcher, The Time of Contempt. So I am definitely going to be reading this as soon as I have it. I have it on hold right now on Libby. If you don't know or don't have Libby, it's an amazing app. You just have to have a library card, and you can get either ebooks or audiobooks directly on your phone from your library. So I am in line and waiting for Time of Contempt to be available to me. So right now it says I should get it in about 6 weeks. Usually I get it a little bit earlier because people either finish it early and return it early, or they don't grab their hold when it becomes available to them. So then it just moves on to the next person. So minimum 6 weeks, I will be listening to that on audiobook. I really have been enjoying the Witcher series on audiobook. The dialogue is just so rich, and the narrator can create so many different voices, and it's just an amazing experience. So I definitely recommend, if you do The Witcher, to do it on audiobook. So I will definitely be reading that in winter. Another book that I will be reading 100% in winter is Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. This is going to be released, I think, January 6th. I will correct that if that's wrong, but it's not released yet. It releases early January sometime. So I have that pre-ordered, so as soon as I get that, I will read that. I really, really enjoyed Ninth House. It wasn't a perfect 5-star for me, but I had a really great time. I don't usually do a lot of dark academia, but I was drawn to that book, so I grabbed it and I really enjoyed it. So I'm 100% going to be reading Hellbent. I am so excited to see where this story goes. Obviously, I can't say too much about it because it is a sequel, but minimal plot or synopsis is that we go to hell to find somebody. So I am so excited. I think I will like this one even more than I liked Ninth House. Okay, so that is all the books that I am hoping to get to during winter. Like I said, I don't usually do TBRs, but I wanted to create at least a stack of books that I could easily pick through. But let me know what's on your winter TBR, or if you do a monthly TBR. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end. Go ahead and leave me a moon emoji so I know, because I'm probably the most excited to read The Night and Its Moon by Piper CJ. Please subscribe if you're interested in more content, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Bye!